Click the links to join the channel here or unsubscribe. Start Patreon. Thanks to everyone's very generous donations on Cash App, coffee, and crypto and everything else. You guys have been kind of over the top this past month, and I'm well cognizant of your generosity. So Disney, this video is such a challenge to get through this video, especially one take, no editing, right? So how many times have I started and stopped this video where I just went off into Alex Jones, Luciferian, lizard people, demonic parasites, and had to stop and remake the video? Well, more than once. Actually several times. It's very difficult to talk about this stuff dealing with kids and not just lose your mind. I think as a pendulum shifts back, a lot of people are to discover, like in this community, that wow, these people are so nice and tolerant. They're tolerant of our different beliefs, and we need to come for the kids. And all of a sudden, the laser eyes start up. Like, but I felt that the velvet hand. It's like, no, that's the velvet glove. There's something underneath that velvet glove you're feeling. All these nice, liberal, tolerant people. Is that suddenly the laser eyes? It's like, oh, you're coming for the kids, huh? As the glow intensifies. So Disney, strange world, homogenization, and they're self-censoring in 20 markets. Gee, it must be sweet to get... We're going to edit out this kissing scene in the background for Star Wars. It's like, oh, well, can't we get that edited version? No, you guys are Istophobic bigots. It's like, you can just download the video and we can edit that scene out ourselves. It's remarkably easy to edit even the highest definition videos now on like a very reasonably priced computer, and like now we can just pass that video around. I mean, assuming it's legal in your jurisdiction. Anyway, so they're self-censoring. Propaganda is only for the West. It's only for your kids. Weird how there seems to be a theme there. So Disney it's just such a challenge to talk about this and just not lose your mind. So Disney makes these BLT films that nobody wants. Essentially, BLT brainwashing. Just get through this. Oh, this is really want to make suggestions to these people. Hey, here, Disney, why don't you have a cocktail? These brainwashing these movies to manipulate kids into a lifestyle that many people don't agree with. Many people. I think we can all agree. We can all find strange bedfellows in that. This is a bridge too far. The kids stuff. We're coming for your kids. San Francisco Choir, laser eyes. You see. Suddenly, like, you discover, oh, hey, 90% of San Francisco's got these laser eyes. Soccer moms suddenly are not so tolerant. So that's the modern Disney, is this kind of stuff. The family-friendly Disney is now pushing this to kids. I remember the Disney of the 80s and the 90s. My buddy and I sitting on a couch drinking a beer, watching some Disney movie in the 90s and just crying at the end of it, which if you saw us you would not have, it would have been funny. So which is weird, because this is not the Disney I remember. It's not the Disney of our childhood. What happened to Disney? It's like they got subverted and corrupted. Because family friendly, right? Oh, well, it's the exact same thing. Well, this left-hand path doesn't actually result in a family, which is not politically correct to say, but it's probably time to skip the PC and start being honest. And the thing is, it's like it's being as honest as the platform allows. And on Google, there's YouTube is pretty strict. Now, Elon Musk is talking about Twitter. I think he's going to call it Twitter X, where it's going to be like the Chinese, what do they call it, the Wii platform or something. But he wants to start with video hosting, long-form video hosting, and then live streaming on Twitter. It would be really easy to do. I mean, you can build a live stream platform for like $10,000 a month. Shing TV has it, and it's just not it's not a very challenging hurdle now with the way tech is set up. So like Twitter could do that, have a little bit more free speech, and it's monetized. And people are not going to leave YouTube behind, but I think you'd see growth of Twitter. I think because like you look at YouTube and it's like, oh hey, YouTube, why didn't the YouTube just incorporate the vertical microblogging platform that Twitter and Minds and Gab and all these other sites have? Like, people are really into that. Like, comment section is so important. It's like you can have a tab on Twitter where you go to somebody's page, or or on YouTube you just enter the microblogging aspect of YouTube, and it's like you could just put commercials on there like you do for the rest of it. It's like, yeah, why didn't you guys innovate? Well, I mean, when companies get to this certain level, they balloon up, and then they kind of get clogged down with bureaucracy and they slow down. And you look at Twitter, and it's got a fresh of just oxygen is being pumped into this engine, because you got this new guy who's coming up in there and adding a little bit of excitement. And like, he's not going to turn into Gab or 4chan or anything like that. Like, I've been on it for the past 2 weeks. It's not Gab at all, but it is more exciting, and there's energy behind it. Like, there's YouTube. People are always going to use YouTube. Facebook, it's not going to go away, but nobody talks about Facebook. I'm going to leave Twitter and go to they're talking like Mastodon or some other sites. It's like, yeah, but why don't you just go to Facebook? Oh, because it's kind of dull and boring. Yeah, the Facebook story is kind of an interesting story, especially what he did with that virtual reality thing. He lost $15 billion to make a VR Matrix world, and that's a fascinating story. But it's so much to it to try to convey it and stay within, because I think there's deeper, darker evilness going on there. But to try to find a platform you can talk about it, you go like, oh yeah, YouTube will. They're like, once you make videos for a year, you know where you should tread and where you may not tread. Like the Balenciaga story, when that thing came out, I like the afternoon it came out, I saw it on Twitter, and then I went to YouTube and I'm searching for it. The stories come up and it wasn't being covered, and it should have been. Like you think, oh, I'll get out there, I'll make a video and I'll jump ahead of it. Now here's the trick: is you self-censor because you go, oh, I don't want to like get in trouble with YouTube. I don't want to get shadow banned. I don't want to get put on the wrong list. It's more for bigger channels. But you know the lay of the land when if you make videos, you search a topic like with a title that you would use, and if it doesn't come up, it's a bad sign. So you wait for someone else bigger to kind of introduce the story. And that Balenciaga story did get slowly introduced. Brittany Venney, to her credit, was the first one to do it on YouTube that I came across. And then the mainstream right of center, like the Australian company News Center covered it, and the I think some other sites gently covered it. It's like, so that's in and out of the media already. That's weird. Yeah, that's the narrative. That's the narrative. So if you're a small YouTuber and you're thinking about covering these topics, you always have to look ahead of you to see what you're permitted to cover. And it's not like it's directly violating the terms of service. It's the unspoken rules of this narrative that YouTube is pushing. And you think, wait a minute, but they're doing this stuff to kids, they're hurting kids. Why wouldn't YouTube want you to bring it to, oh, dear God. Oh, how deep does this stuff go? Yeah, that's the whole story. So, I mean, credit to Brittany Venney and She Won't Head for at least bringing some attention to this story. Anyway, what a challenging video to get through. I think just get through the video, just get through it. And anyway, so it doesn't actually result in starting a family. Which is, humans have kind of had this one pattern of behavior for a long time. It's like, well, it's time to change it. Yeah, a conservative asks why the fence is in place before they tear it down. So they're making this BLT propaganda specifically for Western kids, and they know it's going to lose money, which should have you activating the almonds, jogging the noggin, scratching your head. But they make it anyway. Doesn't that really seem odd? Deliberately making propaganda aimed at changing the West. And some would argue perhaps that they're changing it in a pathway that is not the right-hand path. And they're accepting that it's going to lose money. The story is about a young pox BLT boy who is chasing after another boy set in Weimar or hell. Looks around. Yeah, this is some combination of that. The Lightyear movie that came out with Chris Evans, and they didn't use Tim Allen for it, and people said, oh, Disney's souring on Tim Allen. It's kind of more complicated because they used him for some Santa Claus movie, but they didn't use him for this. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. Why wouldn't you? He's the character everyone associates with it. And you didn't, you're not cutting ties with the guy, you're still using him. And so you make this movie with Chris Evans, who, oh, is a huge name, he's got star power. No, those are two different things. He's a huge name, he doesn't have star power. That's a whole, he's in movies that have, even the individual movies don't have star power. They're different types of movies. They're name brand recognition Disney, corporate comic book machines, but any individual actor doesn't really have a draw to them. They're not exactly fungible, but they're not draws on their own. So it was weird that they didn't use Tim Allen in that movie and they used Chris Evans instead. And predictably, the movie lost a ton of money. It didn't just underperform. It was a huge bomb. Actually, Disney's got a whole huge string of bombs. And the thing is, of course, they made a movie for, there was one movie they made for $350 million. You go, I've never heard of it. Yeah, that's the point. They made it for because of reshoots, it went to over $300 million. And you go, I've never heard of these bombs. It's that's how serious the bombs they were, is that you've never even heard of the movies. They've lost over $1 billion in losses. Yeah, they're deliberately willing to lose money. And the thing is that the Chapek and the Iger story, there's a deeper story beneath the story there, and I look at that and I'm spending all this time thinking about this, thinking I don't know if I can articulate it in a way that one is allowed on YouTube, and two is worth making because if like 90 people watch the video and you spend all this time on it, you're like, oh great, it's like 10 cents, but it's an important video. It's like at some point you got to realize some videos are just not, because the way the platform is structured, they're just not, you're just not able to spread that message. I mean, that's what the alt platforms are for: Odyssey, Bit Chute, World Truth Video, Gab TV, and stuff. And like Twitter X, I think if he could set that up, like he could have that running in a few months. There's no reason not to have long form video, live streaming, and monetize. Because like everyone has Twitter, and Twitter is popping. The increased usage on Twitter is through the freaking roof. Anyway, so they made the Buzz Lightyear movie, and there's some BLT stuff in it. I think there's a kiss in the background, and it lost money, a ton of money, because people don't want Disney brainwashing their kids. We have different beliefs. We just have different belief systems, and like you don't have to get into a big back and forth with the left wing over. It's like you just we'll have to agree to disagree. Which you say that, and it drives them wild. You're denying my existence. No, sir, you're clearly in front of me. We're not denying your existence. We don't even want to necessarily interfere. And like most people want to leave well enough alone. It's just like I said. It's like there's certain lines you cross, and you should not be crossed. Anyway, so the right doesn't value these belief systems that the left values, at least in the sense of pushing it towards kids. Again, adults want to do what adults want to do. Most people are fine with that. Even people on the right are fine with that. It's like you're off in your own universe. You've reached escape velocity. You're like two galaxies beyond light speed. It's a different worldview. The globalists will argue that like it's just as normal as straight couples. There's an argument to be had on back and forth, and it's fascinating. I think the left wing has a losing argument on that, but like you just don't need to have the argument, because it kind of feels like a moot point, because it's kind of a subjective value system. Different people some people think it's a negative, and you're simply going to choose to avoid exposing your kids to it. Again, like the red line in the sand is stuff for kids whose brains are not fully formed. They're very impressionable. Like we know this, we all know this, and we all know it's not the same. We all know it's different, which is a challenge because the government schools are being completely subverted and corrupted by this, which is another challenge because you're effing paying for it with your property taxes. Like there's no fixing the schools. The only way to fix the schools is and like homeschooling seems like really inefficient, because it's like one parent teaching one. It's like you could just set up a dozen kids in your living room, and the parents could pay for it. It's like, oh, isn't that just a school? Yeah, it's a school, but it's a school without the global homogenization. See, I didn't leave off the end part. Being pushed, this, like you could just teach kids like you were taught back in the day. So these Disney values are not our values, and they're not most people's values, even around the world. Disney. And you just kind of have to avoid all the Disney. Just stick with the old stuff. You can get a hard drive, like a 5 terabyte hard drive is $100. I was thinking of, you could use cloud services. I was thinking like a 256 gigabyte flash card thing, like the old days where you mailed things back and forth to people. You get or a micro SD card. It's the smallest thing imaginable. You could literally just put it in an envelope, less than $20. You could fill out with 500 lower resolution, like for tablets, kids friendly movies, and just kind of pass that around to people, assuming it's legal in your jurisdiction, of course. Non-copywritten material. You could just mail those around to people and like copy it, make a copy, and if you've got the money, buy another SD card, copy it, and then mail it to 2 more people if you have the money. If not, just pass it on to somebody for the cost of a 60-cent stamp. Thanks, inflation. Thanks 1913. Federal Reserve. Yes, where the dollar lost 99% of its value? That's weird. Doesn't that seem weird? Doesn't a lot of stuff seem weird? Doesn't it? It's just like there's a lot going on here. Live streams, huh? So you saved up, you got this money for a supercomputer to live stream, and you got kicked off in a month. Congratulations, Bianca. Nice going. Nice job there, buddy. Honestly, at this point, if I got kicked off YouTube, I think I would make another channel and have someone else use someone else's bank account to monetize it. Because I kind of feel like I know how to make videos now. It's like facts are not in evidence, friendo. And the thing is, like, doing it in one take is a challenge because there's no editing and like stuff dealing with this topic of kids. Like most people view this and just go a little bit crazy, as well they should. Like there are sometimes to there are some lines that should not be crossed, and lately the society is moving in a direction where they're crossing these lines, and you know, anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks to everyone's very generous donations. I know how generous you've been. I'm well aware of like the over the top donations. Every little $2 donation on subscribes are kind of. I see that, and I'm not gonna say I get choked up a little bit, but I do appreciate it. Like it is like a real connection to see a donation. I'm like, aren't you just shilling? Yes and no, but I'm being honest about it. Like it is like maybe big channels don't see it, but small channels, like every little donation is a little. All right, this sounds like I'm shilling. Anyway, I'll see you guys all next episode.